Weddings, 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 and more weddings. Shalom, sweetest friends. What am I talking about? We're in the time of Sfiras HaOmer. So, this is a time period that many people observe as a period of mourning. It's a time where we're supposed to reflect on a great loss that happened to the Jewish people. Rabbi Akiva, it's told in Masechet Ketubot, that he came back with 12,000 students after his tenure away from his wife for 12 years. And he went back for another 12 years and acquired another 12,000 students. And came along a plague. Many disagree over what that plague was. The root cause, sinat china, hatred, baseless hatred, amongst the greatest of Torah scholars. They couldn't get along. They wouldn't offer the other one space to voice their opinion. They always stuck to what they thought was right. Anyway, out of the loss, out of a plague of 24,000 students dying, it's understood that we mourn during this period. And it's controversial. What parts do we mourn? When do we mourn? Some people start that right after Pesach. Right after the second day of Pesach. Sfirat HaOmer starts, and they start observing the customs of minimizing their enjoyment. They don't cut a beard. They don't listen to music. They don't go to public gatherings. Different kinds of mourning rituals. But the customs vary. And sometimes someone wants to make a wedding. What do? So some people, they observe Sfirat HaOmer from the time Pesach is done, or the second day is done, until Lag BaOmer. And other people start on Rosh Chodesh Iyar. Pesach's in the month of Nisan, and that follows with the month of Iyar, and then the month of Sivan with Matan Torah. So some people started at Rosh Chodesh Nisan. Rosh Chodesh Iyar. And for those that start at Rosh Chodesh Iyar, it would seem like they could make a wedding before Rosh Chodesh Iyar. Because for them, they're not mourning during the month of Nisan. It's a Zman HaGeula, time of redemption. And recognizing that we live in a world where people have these differences in minhagim, Rav Moshe Feinstein comes out with a phenomenal psak halacha. We see that in Igros Moshe, in Kuf Nun Tet, the first book, Chelek Aleph of Orach Chaim, we see that the Igros Moshe says that one may make a wedding before Rosh Chodesh Iyar or after Lag BaOmer, and invite guests who are keeping Sfira, the mourning rituals of those two periods, the before Rosh Chodesh Iyar or the after Lag BaOmer period. So you personally aren't keeping that, but you might invite guests. What's going to happen to those guests? Are they going to turn you down? Are they not going to come to the wedding? So he says that for those who are keeping Sfira during that time, they can participate in the dancing and the music regardless of their minhag of avelus, their minhag avelut during that period that they are observing a time of sadness. Fascinating. We can take part and rejoice in another person's simcha, even though this period, this particular period in our Jewish calendar, is a time of mourning. And it's your own minhag to mourn during that time. Rav Moshe says, for everyone this can be observed. And he's getting that from the Shulchan Aruch, which tells us via the Mishnah Brura that before Rosh Chodesh Iyar and from Lag BaOmer on, one may be lenient and rely upon the opinions of the poskim who permit music at a Seudas mitzvah. So you see that even though your custom is different, comes down Shulchan Aruch with the Mishnah Berurah and is cited by the same Piskei Teshuvos that Igros Moshe used, which is Tuf Tzadik, Tuf Tzadik Gimel, Halacha Hey. They're citing the same. He's citing the same one as the Mishnah Berurah is to give this leniency that you can rely on others to enjoy their simcha and participate in their music, in their festivities. And I don't know, it brings such a nechama, such a comfort to know that another Jew's happiness is like my happiness. That the happiness is going to trump any and all sadness during this time. Some hold that it's a little bit shaky over what we're really mourning. But Minhag Yisrael, Minhagim of all Jews, have this observance of mourning, and it can be pushed aside for another Jew's happiness. It's an incredible point. This can be extrapolated to many parts of our lives. The realness I felt this morning with, I was in the car with my friend, his daughter, and his father. And we're bringing the little girl, she's 3 years old, to school. And in that short car ride, she wants to listen to music. And he says, I can't put on music. And she starts crying. And he says, I can't put on musical instruments for you. I can put on other music. And she's crying. And we end up settling on some a cappella music. And she does calm down. But I would hope that all of us in situations like that can take an aspect of a child sometimes. That hear the laugh of a child and realize there's so much to life and it's so beautiful. And sometimes hear the cries of a child and realize that they're cries of greater significance than the little anguish that they're feeling. I mean, after all, she's being told to observe this period of mourning and it hurts. And how many of us are going through Sfiras HaOmer, this period of mourning, and feeling that pain? But you can imagine, by the time we got to school and she got in there, she was as cheery as could be. But she did let out a good cry. And so for some of us, we need to let out a good cry. And hopefully that cry will permeate the heavens and allow us to put aside, to push aside all those times of sadness, so we can rejoice together. B'mheira v'yameinu. Amen. Much love, sweetest friends.